those are the moments when you really lean into your trust and your faith in who you are and what life is and what you know about the nature of life. Hey guys, what's up? Christina here. I'm back for another intuitive reading for the collective. I guess I'm back into it, full swing, just diving into the weekly readings again because why not? A little rule though, because we got through half of the deck last time, there's half the cards I haven't seen and half the cards I have, and they got mixed up. So if I pick a card I know we've already seen, I'm gonna skip it, or I'll keep it on the side as maybe it's a support card, and I'm gonna pick another card because I kind of want to go through the deck and find the ones we haven't covered yet. Yeah, so that's just a rule I'm putting into place for myself. So well, just take some breaths, sit back, enjoy. If any questions come up during the reading, I would be happy to address them, so leave a comment. So pick a card here. So make sure that we haven't seen that. Okay, I feel like we have seen this one maybe. I'm not sure actually, so we'll do it. The card is full moon. Completion. Full moon. Completion. Okay, well, this is a great card for the end of the year. We're coming on the completion of 2022. What an incredible year. How was your 2022? Mine was incredible. It started out very strong and it was pretty consistent throughout the whole year. I feel like so much life was lived in this last year. So much life was lived. I explored so much. I did some things that scared me, and I walked away from some things that I had a long relationship with to open up new space for new things in my life, and new things came into my life. I started a new business in 2022. Yeah, and this is nice too because it's like coming full circle. I started this card reading with this deck at the beginning of the year. It's at the end and I decided to pick it back up and finish the year strong with it. So it's kind of cool, the completion point with the card readings for the new year too. The point that also comes up though for this, the moon is like the cycle, the cyclical nature of our lives at the moment, and the way that our solar system is structured and our planetary system is structured. The moon and the earth and its orbit, the moon being this 28-day cycle where it goes through these phases. And this for me has been a really cool process to walk with the moon in terms of aligning myself to that is a more natural rhythm of time. There's 13 full moons or new moons in a year, 13, and I've this year have been really like kind of walking more with, instead of the start of the month being what the calendar says, actually going off of more the new moon. So that's kind of like the birth of the beginning of a new month. It's the beginning of a new cycle. It's like this is where I'm starting from in terms of my next 28 to 30 days, and kind of walking a month like that. And it's been really cool. It's like a practical way to kind of structure yourself. We do it already, obviously, with the calendar, but doing it with the moon, it's like a more natural rhythm that is just like in our planetary system. Like this is actually how this planetary body is moving in relation to our Earth. And so I just find it to be really cool. And yeah, and it's fun too because it's like the moon always starts with a new moon. So it's like a fresh slate. It's like a new cycle. It's like a new point. It's a new phase. It's a newness, right? And then you have like this 30 days, 28 to 30 days to walk this like cycle and, do these things that you want to do, or set these intentions that you want to set. But then within that, you also have the full moon, which is the card, is the full moon. And the full moon is like the fullness, the absolute power. It's like the culmination. It's like the climax. It's like the point that everything's working towards this point. And it's where like everything kind of accumulates to and like condenses within, and it's just like this is like the point. And yeah, but then also that settles, and it's this is also this point of like ebb and flow, the ebb and flow of life, the cycles, the ups and downs, the waves of life, you know, like life is not linear. It's not just this flat line, dead thing, you know what I mean? There is these ups and downs. It's like a heartbeat, up and down, up and down, up and down. These phases, these cycles. So it's just a process of learning how to walk with these cycles, with these natural cycles in our life. For me, especially this last month, I've been looking at that point of like my experience with money, where I noticed specifically in the last 2 months, I had this experience where it was like I felt really good and clear about my money situation. I felt very abundant. I felt like I had a lot of resources available and a lot of things were moving, and it was feeling really great and free and just like really fluid. And then a couple weeks later, it started feeling really constrictive and tight, and I got nervous about some things and a little like, you know, fearful, and that the worries and doubts and concerns start to creep in a little bit. And then in that experience though, what I realized was, oh, this is the ebb and flow of my money relationship. Like this is natural. I don't have to fight or resist this or overanalyze it or think what's wrong with me. This is just a natural thing. And so it's in that moment of feeling tight and restrictive and nervous and uncertain to really lean into my trust of life and what I know is here, which is, you know, we're like nature, and I see in nature, nature provides, my environment provides, my nature has the ability to provide to me everything I need. And so if I go into the fear and doubts and uncertainties, I become restrictive, I become like, you know, kind of moving from fear rather than moving from, you know, seeing like clarity and like opportunities. So it's just that point of like, that's the ebb and flow of life. So it's like you can feel really good about something, and then you go into a moment where it's more more contracting experience or contrasting experience. Those are the moments when you really lean into your trust and your faith in who you are and what life is and what you know about the nature of life. And I mean, I can only speak for myself, but that's kind of what I'm seeing for myself is like, I'm gonna go through these cycles. I'm gonna go through these ups and downs. And it matters more about who I am within that rather than getting like sucked into the experience of it. That linear stability point has to be who I am. That's stable, even if there's these ebbs and flows, ups and downs, but more specifically, those moments where we feel really restrictive and nervous. No, this will pass. This too shall pass. Life gives, life nourishes, life nurtures, and just really trust that that's actually the design of life, and that's actually what's here, and that you can trust that it will pass and you will have another wave of feeling clarity and abundant, and you know what I mean? So it's just learning how to go through these waves without getting, you know, tossed overboard or sucked under the surface, and just really like learning kind of how to float your boat on the water of the emotions and experiences. For me, in terms of like coming to the end of the new year or the end of the year, I think that's a great experience or perspective to have, an understanding to kind of walk with, something to practice for myself. And so for you is those moments of when you get nervous, when you get uncertain, when you lose your clarity, when you're not feeling your best, when you're feeling, you know, restrictive and, you know, things kind of get darker. It's to really lean into knowing that this is not forever, this is not going to last, this is just a moment in time, and that you have the power within yourself to harness that clarity and that stability. And even when it's dark, you have that light within you that you can, you know, stand with it and know who you are and know that this will pass and know that you're capable and that there is something you can do, and you don't have to get caught up in that experience. I know it's overwhelming. I know it can be really hard and challenging, but just something to practice and consider and apply in your life. Okay, so let's read the book definition really quick. Okay, it says, every 29.5 days, Grandmother Moon shines bright and full in the sky, illuminating the landscape with her muted brilliance, casting a delicate canopy over the sky and the physical features of Earth. Having gradually etched her way over the last 2 weeks to fullness, she now stands like a guiding beacon in the night. She has completed this round of her perpetual and periodic monthly journey and will now start her slow but steady retreat into shadow. In this card, we see the grandeur of the moon at its peak, blazing brightly and creating a silhouette of a tree. This beautiful orb reminds us that all cycles have their time of completion and fulfillment, one that will inevitably be followed by a decrease until yet another cycle is initiated. You can now take pleasure in knowing that whatever you have been working toward has now reached its culmination. It may have been a relatively brief cycle or a much more extensive one, yet regardless of the length of time, you have arrived at the stage of completion. Let yourself feel the contentment and satisfaction of this accomplishment. It is like when you take a deep breath and reach the point where your lungs are pleasantly full and your body is ready to release that breath. It is important to not only enjoy this completion, but also to let go and allow yourself to relax afterwards. Just like exhaling slowly and cautiously, people are much too eager to rush to the next item on the agenda without giving proper time and space to appreciating and honoring the natural cycle of release that follows a point of resolution. Give yourself that time to relax and rest before tackling Spirit's next assignment. Oh, I love that. I can so relate to that also, really feeling like coming into completion in a lot of points within myself in the last year, and even now coming back here, doing the reading, doing my check-in, the last video that I shared, and just like kind of re-establishing and reaffirming who I am within the space and my sharings and what I'm doing. It just feels like I am so in a new phase, like there has been a completion of what was, and really just like walking now into the full embodiment of what is. And it's really exciting. And and I'm also going to make sure that it's the end of the year. I'm going to Minneapolis, which is where I'm from. I haven't been home for 4 or 5 years, so I'm really excited. We're heading home for Christmas, to my hometown for Christmas. So I will be sure to rest and relax and really sit in the fullness of what this year has been. And really just enjoy the time off and the break in preparation for the new year, which is set to be pretty exciting, I'm sure. So if you have any reflections or insights that came up while you're listening, I would love to hear that. Otherwise, thanks for walking with, and see you next week. Bye.